Welcome back to the channel. Smokey here at DLW Motorsports, and just wanted to give you guys an update and talk about OEM parts versus aftermarket. That's right, OEM versus aftermarket. Some things aftermarket are great. Some things aftermarket works very well depending on. And then sometimes aftermarket just don't work in certain situations. For example, we have this radiator here, which is an aftermarket radiator, but it doesn't quite fit with the OEM fan shroud, and so I find myself having to put on zip ties because the bolt holes don't line up. And so sometimes getting aftermarket parts is not always the case, but if you do, and there's nothing wrong with aftermarket, there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting aftermarket parts, but make sure that you double check fitment and that everything lines up the way it's supposed to, so that way you don't have issues later on trying to get parts to fit or having to modify certain parts when trying to put together a vehicle. And as you can see on this vehicle, we're almost done. We fixed a few issues. There are some things that I had to fix, and some things that I couldn't fix. And that's another thing that we could talk about is coolant, and letting your coolant or not changing your coolant at the recommended intervals. What happens is coolant will become it will form electrolysis inside of your engine if it sits too long, which will corrode all of the metals and things like that. For example, we have this broken. As you can see there, the electrolysis from the coolant sitting so long and not being changed caused this to break, and then you have a lot of corrosion inside of here. And so we want to make sure that we are absolutely changing our coolants at the recommended intervals. I know some manufacturers recommend changing your coolant or flushing out your coolant every 30,000 miles. So you want to make sure that you're doing that, and also your transmission fluids and stuff like that. I believe transmission fluid is every 60,000 miles. So, but don't quote me on it. But definitely want to make sure that we are maintaining and taking care of our vehicles, especially your rotary. You want to keep up with the maintenance on rotaries, because I don't want to say that they're finicky, but they're designed differently, and you don't want to have blocked coolant passages inside your engine, because that can cause overheating, which could warp the engine and mess up water seals and things like that. So make sure that we're taking care of our vehicles. Make sure that we are checking if our aftermarket parts fit OEM parts, and that we are doing the maintenance work that we should be doing. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. Wanted to just give you guys a quick update on what we're doing, what we're working on today, and things like that. This 1989 Series 5 Mazda RX-7 convertible is getting some maintenance love and things like that, getting it up and running. So taking care of my client. That's what we do here at DLW Motorsports. Alright guys, check you later.